been a while since I've done a tour of the main perennial bed I have. I call it the Dutch garden because of all the spring bulbs I have in here. But we're on the third flush, or the third round of flowers in this garden, and they're just looking quite gorgeous, so let's take a quick tour. So these lilies at the front of the border here are just fading. That's my first flush. There's a shorter variety of lilies, and these really tall ones behind them are coming in, and they're quite stately and they're doing really well. I don't know the differences in the names. I've had some of these things for years, so I keep propagating them. So when you buy lilies, you're just going to have to pay attention. These varieties of lilies that are blooming right now are called Asiatic. There's no fragrance to them. It's all about the color. So in this bed I have Delphiniums that are just kind of on their way out. These Delphiniums are from the Fantasia collection, and they only reach about 3 feet in height as compared to other Delphiniums that I will show you that get up to 6 feet in height. The nice thing about these is I planted these from seeds last year, and they're just doing really well. An earlier tour I had them looking a little yellow, but you can see they're starting to darken up. I added some blood meal to help with the nitrogen. These Delphiniums are always really lovely because they come in different shades of blue and purple. This one's a balm blue, bee blue. You can get them in pink too. But they're just really nice, all the different colors. And here's a close-up of this lily. Again, they're Asiatic, no fragrance. My Oriental lilies won't bloom until the 1st of August, the first week or so. So as I continued on the path, I just cut off my remaining daffodil stems to try to tidy up the garden a little bit. Here's another one of my Delphiniums. Again, the blooms are just starting to fade a little bit. You can see kind of the cool hues of pink and blue in there. The nice thing about Delphiniums is they will multiply. So right now I've only got one stem coming out, but they will double, triple, and quadruple. I'll show you a larger Delphinium later on in the garden here and show you just how much it's multiplied in 3 years. This is another Delphinium here that I'm going to deadhead. So I'm going to come in and I'm going to cut this off right here. And what will happen is more sprouts will come out on the bottom. In about 8 weeks time I will get more blossoms. I've had Delphiniums bloom in zone 4 all the way into Thanksgiving in a warm year, and that's pretty amazing. Here's a shorter variety of lily that one of my friends got me. She got me it because it was a specialty lily. I think it's because it did have a shorter stem, so it probably is less likely to blow over during the wind. Looking across this section of the garden, you can see I've added some bee balm in here. And believe it or not, I only transplanted 3 little pieces of bee balm. And this is a standard red. This is nothing special. And this multiplied into this much. This can be kind of evasive. You want to make sure you put it in an area you can allow it to spread. But bees and hummingbirds love it. Bee balm is really good. It's deer resistant and drought tolerant, so it's something nice to add. It does not have a good fragrance, but that's probably why the deer won't touch it. But it's a lovely pop of red in a perennial border. Moving into this area, this is just a standard purple coneflower. This, as well as a lot of my other flowers this year, tend to be really tall. I think it's because we've had so much heat. We've been in a drought. It's been really bad. I think we've only received about 2 inches of rain total all summer so far, probably since mid-May. It's been bad. I've been having to water every night in different sections of my yard. Next to the purple coneflower, which will reseed readily as well. I don't think it's quite as evasive. I think it's easier to pull them out if you don't want them. I have this beautiful Russian sage. And this one starts right about now, right about 4th of July. And then it will take me all the way up into frost, which is just why I love it, because it's pretty stately, and I love the silvery foliage. Also deer and bunny resistant. This little plant is called Loosestrife, or gooseneck is what some people call them. I actually bought an original plant at a farmer's market many years ago, and then it invaded my garden, and I try to get it out and it's still here, so I'm going to have to go and pull. It spreads by root or rhizomes, and it's kind of hard to get rid of. It's very beautiful, but you have to be able to tolerate the spread. So here's another look at this little section of garden where you can kind of see all the colors coming together. Looks really lovely. I have some open spots in the garden here. There's tulips that come in during the spring and then it's kind of bland after that. I'll be transplanting some other varieties of flowers in here. I have some coreopsis, some red coreopsis maybe, or some yellow coreopsis I'll put in here to take up the space when the tulips aren't in bloom. Continuing on. This is my sombrero coneflower, and it is really a neat plant. It will start out with a yellow, it'll start out with an orange flower head like this, and then it evolves into this red droop back flower head. And it's amazing to me that you can have a plant that will do all those different things, but the color, it's just a nice pop in a garden. I always think adding a little pop of red is a good thing. I saw this little guy yesterday. I'm not sure what it is. It's some kind of a worm or some kind, and it must eat the coneflowers. To me, it almost looked like a walking stick. I'm gonna have to look it up. If anybody knows what it is, if they could let me know, that'd be great. But it is eating my coneflower. Getting down here, I have some specialty Asiatic lilies. Don't remember what they're called either. I lost those tags a long time ago. But look at how dark pink they are. And they're unique because they kind of have a white throat. They're just really gorgeous. You can really see, these are really short. These are maybe only 18 inches off the ground. And the other lilies behind them are almost 3 feet off the ground. Big contrast, but it's very beautiful. Next, we're coming into my daughter's little bed that I made for her, which has got a lot of the purple and blues in it. And these really cool looking flowers are called balloon flowers here. And why they're called balloon flowers is because when the flowers are closed, they look like balloons. She would come through and she would pop them. And they would pop like that, and she would walk along. She'd be about 3 years old, and she'd reach down and pop all the balloons. So she thought it was funny, and she'd giggle. So again, this is childhood memories for her. I'll take a little pan. They're just beautiful flowers, the way they open up. They come in white and pink as well. And there's some shorter varieties that only get 6 inches tall. But that's what I've got for here. The chartreuse green plant is a sweet woodruff. It's highly evasive. I need to pull it. I just haven't done it yet, but it does look quite striking against the purple flowers here in the garden, ironically. I still have to get it out of my garden. And this magical plant flower is a Pacific giant Delphinium. I have some other video feed where it was more in full bloom. It's starting to fade now, and I'm going to come in and deadhead this one as well. But it's just such a striking color of blue. I just love it. If we look down below, you can see how many stems. There's probably 10 stems in there. I don't know if you can see it or not. So this has been in the ground for 3 years, and it creates quite a stately column or display in the garden. This too will be deadheaded, and it will come back for a second flush of blooms. At the end of my garden, I have a garden bench, and right now it's being invaded by this milkweed, which I've left here for the butterflies. I'll let it go for so long and then I'll take it out. But I do come sit here once in a while. I don't see any caterpillars on it right now. Lots of milkweed bugs, but no caterpillars. The pink blossoms on the milkweed are also quite fragrant and lovely too. I have some gay feather back there, or Liatris, that's blooming right now, or just starting to bloom, and that will continue to bloom going down the spikes. I have a bigger display on the other side. I'm going to pan the garden right now, which I like to do, to try to remind us where we've been over the year. On the back side of the bench, I do have some more Delphiniums out here, and I have some flowers that I've already done, and I've kind of cut them back. The little Northern Lights azalea that is trying to establish itself. And then these are more Asiatic lilies, which have just an amazing color. A little bee in there enjoying some pollen this morning. But the color is really nice. I should probably look up these names too. I just don't know what they are. And then I've got another lily in here. It's a pink variety. Dark pink. But yeah, the bees are loving the flowers this morning. All kinds of activity going on. Going back down the other side of the garden, this very tall plant is a perennial hibiscus. It's just really major, and it gets really large blooms on it. It starts blooming late in the year. I always like putting a little bird bath out for the birds. This is the first lily I had to bloom. You can see it's almost done. This is another variety of sombrero cornflower that's starting its bloom. I don't think this one gets quite the mop head on it. Then I have some tall garden phlox, which I'm struggling to grow because the deer are coming in, and no matter what I do, the deer are chewing at it anyway. I've even sprayed it with deer away to make it unpalatable, and they still chew it off. So I don't know if I'm going to have to put a fence on it. We'll have to see if I can get something that works. That's the one thing I have not been able to protect from the deer, is the tall garden phlox. This is another type of coneflower. I think this one may be called like tomato soup or something like that. I'll have to see if I can find the tag. Some of the tags I have, some of them I don't. This is newer for me. This I bought right about the time I started this garden. This garden's about 3 years old. The backdrop behind the bird bath, you can see this is Liatris. It's just starting its bloom too. And I have some more lilies, which I think are pink. So those will all come out and be a nice display together. This section of the garden, again, is for my husband. It's all oranges and reds. This is regular milkweed. This one is a different variety of milkweed plant, and the orange is just really kind of striking. And the caterpillars or the monarchs love this one just as much as they do the old-fashioned milkweed. The other thing I have in here are some red/dark pink Asiatic lilies. Take a closer look. We have got bees loving it this morning. Everybody's happy. The other flower that I have is this yellow Ozark sundrop. It's a little droopy because I just watered this morning, but you can just see how big that flower is, and it's just beautiful. Unfortunately, Japanese beetles love it too. I got daylilies in here that haven't bloomed, which are like dark orangey red too, but they haven't came just yet. A couple more days, I think they will be blooming. I'll keep walking along here. This is a huge milkweed plant. Just amazing. Get to an opening here. This is where there was a patch of tulips and daffodils, and I'll probably put something else in to fill in this void time between the spring bloom and my summer to fall. This little patch of heaven is mine. This is all about the purples and the pinks. I'll go around to the other side of the garden so you can see exactly what this looks like. So this is Russian sage and these pink lilies, and together they're just spectacular. Looks just like a little bouquet. So when I plant my gardens and I do the designs, I think about each season and how I can put things together so it kind of looks like a bouquet out in the garden. Continuing on, I have another blank spot. This is where there were parrot tulips in here, which I'll need to plant more tulips because they didn't really want to come back for me so much. So I'll get some more tulips and plant them. And then I have another batch of tall garden phlox, which is looking a little short because the deer keep chewing on it, but hopefully we'll get there. Usually if the deer nibble it a couple of times, it simply makes it spread out, and it's like pinching it back. It's like pinching it back, and then it will continue to get bigger and give me more flowers into the fall. So it doesn't kill it unless they chew it to the ground. We get up into this area, and this is a Husker Red, I think, Penstemon. And it's got that burgundy color that did have a white flower on it, which you may be able to see, and that's starting to fade. If you like doing dried flower arrangement, this looked really nice in a dried flower arrangement when you dry it. I got some more lilies in here. I have scattered, let's see if you can see, I have put more Delphiniums in here. Again, this is the Fantasia collection. I have some blank spots in here, and I'm going to put some other probably wispy looking flowers in. I haven't decided yet what I'm going to put in here, but I do need to put some other flowers in here. Of course, here you can see my nemesis, which is beautiful. It's a beautiful nemesis, this Loosestrife, which is just really evasive, and I need it to go. As we continue to walk out of the garden here, got some more tall garden phlox here. This is a white variety, which I think I forgot about, but I'll have to come back and spray that with a little of the deer away too. At the very outside of the garden here, I have some campanula that I had moved from a different area, and it's spread like crazy already. I have a lot of campanula. It grows really good in my soil. I've got heavy clay soil here, and it's highly alkaline. So the Delphiniums love it here for the most part, as well as the many other alkaline loving plants, lilies for example. Also on the outside of the garden I have this little plant. It's called an obedient plant, and it's white. I've seen this in many different colors as well. I've seen it in blue, purple, bluish purple, and pink. This variety, the white variety, tends to be a little short. This is only about 12 inches tall, maybe 10. It's short, so more for the front of the border. If you enjoyed this garden tour, please give us a thumbs up so YouTube knows to share this content with others. Also, if you enjoy garden tours, please consider subscribing so you don't miss any of our other great tours. Thanks for stopping by. Have a great day.